Hey everyone, this is MidianASMR and welcome to the channel. So what's happening is I was told unexpectedly that I'm going to my mother's burial because she was cremated and we never got to bury her because COVID hit. And so that's a thing, which I'm apparently going to start making my way there today. So what this is going to be is an ordered version of my Bakugou ASMRs, because some of y'all have said before, what's the order and blah 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 blah, and asking me what the order was. Honestly, when I was making them, I didn't have an order in mind, but as I went on, I realized that I was slowly making my own story in my head about what was going on. And it's all gonna end up tying together, but for the time being, this is going to be all of my Bakugou ASMRs in order. So without further ado, I hope you appreciate this, and when I get back, I will finish and record my Hawks ASMR. Thank you for your time, and I hope y'all like it. You look up at the Class 1A door, your hand trembling slightly, hovering right above the doorknob. Why couldn't you just slide it open? Your body stayed, up in this position. You couldn't move. The only thing you could manage to think was about, why am I here? It all came back to when you had to move from America. You were in the top hero school that they could offer, but no one from the school ever became a pro hero. They couldn't do any better than a sidekick to a pro. Your dream was to be able to become a pro hero, to save lives and help people when you could. You had two quirks. Your family called the first Demon's Blood. It was the ability to change your form to one that resembles close to what people imagine to a demon, which in this form, you became very strong and very quick. You don't use this form often due to not being able to control the bloodlust that comes with it. The other had to do with elements. Your father could control air, water, fire, earth, and plants. You, however, could only shoot out small bursts of fire that could reach about 10 feet if you really tried. Of course, the reason for this being the lack of training due to the school you are attending at the moment. The school had seen your skills and how you outranked any other teen in the large school. They decided to get into contact with your parents to see if they would take a chance into getting you into UA. Of course, they were all for it, and the school staff called you up to the office. You went to the office finding your parents and the principal. You give very confused looks as you soon sit down between your parents. Hey, what's going on? You ask rather softly, managing to look up at the principal. You are a very nervous and anxious person at heart, also known throughout the school for you having a very kind heart. The principal smiles at you softly and replies, "We would ask if you to try and transfer into UA. We as a school can see that you are not challenged here. We want you to go to a place that, challenges you and puts you through hardships. Of course, your parents have already agreed. All we need is your yes and okay from UA. You give a rather confused look to the principal, only having one question. Why didn't you ask UA first? They may not say yes. The principal laughs as she gives a little nod to you. We have transferred someone there before, and they became a top hero. Of course, this was a very long time ago, but I don't think that they wouldn't let you try to get in. You gulp slightly as your hands begin to tremble. You had remembered that the school exam to get into UA had almost killed people at some point. You manage to calm yourself and look up at the principal. All right, I'll try to get in. Your parents hug you and the principal smiles warmly at you. She gently picks up the phone and decides to call UA. They had confirmed to let you try out to attend, but this meant you had to leave for Japan right away. Yeah, that's how I got here, after passing the exam. You stay standing at the front door of Class 1A, still too afraid to enter the class. You had passed the exam only by letting out 20% of the demon's blood quirk out, and using some of your fire quirk. You had done the exam a few days ago, the side effects of your quirk causing you to feel very sick for the past few days. This included fever, headaches, migraine, vomiting, cramping of muscles all over the body, and many other things. Most of these side effects have to do with, demon's blood. You finally go to slide open the door, gently stepping into the class. Everyone's heads turn to you. In response, you let out a little gulp and look at the teacher. Are you Mr. Aizawa, sir? You ask very softly, your voice letting out slight trembles and squeaks as you stutter to speak. Mr. Aizawa looks at you, and he soon notices a paper in your hand. He walks over and gently grabs it from you. He was not informed that the new student would be in his class. He rescanned your paper, making sure you were in the right place. Listener, welcome to Class 1A. I see you couldn't find the school uniforms. You nod in a sheepish way, clearly very nervous. Bakugou scoffs in the back of class, glaring at you from a distance. To him, you were just another extra. But as he soon got a better look at you, he saw you were quite attractive. Of course, this makes his cheek flush slightly as he growls to himself, gripping the desk as he stands up. Listen up, you extra! He begins to yell. The whole class lets out a loud groan, seeing he is already going to be giving the new girl a hard time. You need to learn your place. My name is Katsuki Bakugou. I'm going to be the greatest hero of all time. So you better learn your place now before I blow it into your skull. His hands spark slightly as he keeps glaring at you. Your eyes widen slightly, seeing how aggressive he was already. You look up and over at Mr. Aizawa. Sir, I forgot to ask how the children were divided. Is it by age or power? Also, is this considered a high class or a class for people with weaker quirks? Everyone's eyes widen, including Bakugou's. Aizawa chuckles a little as he looks at you, giving you a very soft reply. This is Class 1A, for first years like yourself. It's divided by both grade and power. 1A is the highest class you can be in for your year. I'm guessing you didn't think you would be put in a high class. You blush slightly as you nod your head again, somewhat hiding your head in your coat. It had the UA signature on it, which told Aizawa that they were out of girl uniforms in your size. The rest of the class was still shocked that you really had no idea how this school worked. Aizawa asked you to take your seat. You give a quick nod, and you head to the back of class. Sitting in the empty seat that they had, you look up at everyone in a shy manner, clearly looking like a nervous wreck in your own eyes. But the more Bakugou looked at you, the more flushed he got. He manages to look away as Aizawa begins with his lesson once more. Class was very normal in your eyes. They hadn't really done anything exciting. Aizawa wanted the class to interact with you and learn how you acted before training. This would both help you and Aizawa to make sure you didn't get paired with somebody that you may not be able to fight or were too scared to fight. dismisses everyone to talk in class before lunch. Izuku walks over to you and gives you a soft smile as you both started speaking. You interact with everyone very calmly, the Baku squad also walking over to speak with you. They had noticed loud noises or yelling made you act a little bit more nervous. Everyone spoke to you calmly and kindly, well, at least as much as they could, surprisingly including Mina. You slowly started to talk more and speak about how life was in America, laughing at Dinky's jokes, talking to Sarah about his amazing quirk, other things like that. You were like a ball of sunshine when you opened up, even a little bit. Bakugou stayed sitting in the chair as Kirishima walked over to him to speak with him. Bro, don't you think it's a little bit rude not to speak to the new kid? He glares at Kirishima and growls, Hell no, nothing but another filthy extra. Kirishima shrugs and decides to stay with his friend, Aizawa coughing to get everyone's attention. He starts speaking about, after lunch, that he had already chosen who will be finding who. Ears perk up as you look. He starts naming off people. Kirishima and Tsuyu, Uburaya. Your mind goes blank as he keeps saying the names. At the moment, you felt all the fear and anxiety come back, not knowing who you would be paired to fight with. The next words that came out of Aizawa's mouth were, Listener and Bakugou. Your face turns white as Bakugou's face lets out a wide grin. Your hands tremble slightly as you slowly turn to him. He is pretty much radiating dark evil energy at this point, and you have a feeling you were going to get your butt kicked. You and the rest of class 1A are leaving the school grounds for a trip in the middle of the summer. Aizawa taking you all to the beach for both a workout on your quirks, also letting you all have time together and to relax, having a fun couple weeks with your class. All of you had packed up as soon as you could and started heading to the school for the meetup. Excitement fills your mind as you can't wait to both have fun with your friends and kick their butts in some volleyball and other sports in the sand. You walk past the school gates to see the Deku squad, all talking and having a good time. You walk over and hug Izuku. You hadn't really seen him in the past few months after summer started, and you had missed him dearly. You soon let go of him with a big smile on your face, his cheeks a dark red. It's so good to see you, Izuku. How have you been? He gulped slightly, rubbing the back of his head. I've been okay. How are you? You feel a sharp pain in the back of your head. You soon falling to your knees, holding the back of your head. You turn to see none other than Bakugou, his cheeks a light shade of pink as he glares down at you. What the hell are you doing with these filthy extras, listener? He yells. You sigh softly as you stand up. You keep rubbing the back of your head as he glares. You let out a little pout. What? Are you jealous? A sly smirk slowly appears on your face when he scowls. You loved making this boy angry, flustered, and downright with any other emotion. To you, it was funny to see him explode when it was about you. You giggle slightly as you start hearing him yell loudly again. Throwing what seemed to be a small temper tantrum, Kirishima and the rest of the Baku squad start arriving as they all stare. They laugh slightly as Bakugou grabs you by the shoulders and begins shaking you like a doll, yelling about you being just another filthy extra as well, his face still a light red, of course. You wrap your arms gently around his neck. He stops shaking you, and you begin to pull yourself closer to him. As you keep pulling yourself closer, he feels his cheeks burn a dark shade of red. You end up close to his ear as you softly whisper, your warm breath tickling his neck slightly. You are too cute. You say this as soon as you can, and you very, very quickly let him go. He stays there, his cheeks still a dark red. Kirishima tries to talk to Bakugou, but he does not get a reply. Bakugou sticks frozen, staying frozen like a broken computer, unable to process what had just been said to him, of all things how it was said to him. He was about to He so badly wanted to feel your heart beat against him once again. You were so close. The more he thought about it, the more he wanted you back next to him. You walk back over to Izuku and the rest of the gang as Bakugou regains his senses. He goes back to yelling, saying things along the lines of, "You extra," and other things like, "How dare you," and "You are such a damn idiot." This makes you and Izuku laugh. He has no idea what you said to Bakugou, and he really wants to know, but knowing you, he kinda doesn't wanna know. So he keeps his mouth shut, as you both continue talking, of course, Kirishima holding back Bakugou from trying to blow you into the heavens. The bus soon arrives to the front gates of the school, Aizawa stepping out after the doors open. You all go to the trailer at the back of the bus and open it. The guys step inside and start helping with the bags, Bakugou not doing anything in the slightest. Of course, none of you wanting the stress of all the bags falling out once they stopped at the beach house. After all this, everyone begins entering the bus in a long line. Ida yelling at us to stay in line, sit in our right spots due to the numbering in class. As always, everyone disregards anything he is yelling about, and all sits down with the people they are very close to. You happen to end up sitting between Bakugou and Izuku. Aizawa getting back onto the bus after everyone has sat down. The bus begins moving, and you all start your very slow trip to the beach. It hadn't even been 10 minutes of peaceful conversation when Bakugou thought Uraraka was giving him a weird look. He begins yelling right into your ear as he grips onto the bus pole, glaring at Uraraka as she gives a very confused look on what kind of bull crap he is already starting. You had had a small flashback of earlier today on how you had a small fight with your mother before you had left. This was making you already upset as it was, but you didn't want to say anything to anyone. This makes you slightly more agitated than normal. You end up grabbing his arm, glaring at him. He turns to you and glares back. "What are you doing extra?" he yells in your face. You finally snap, already being tired of this stuff for today, and bullcrap he was pulling. Normally, you would have kept your composure and just played around with it as always, but you were already reminded of how you were already hurt today. So at this point, all gloves were off. You fully stand up, Bakugou still towering over you, and you begin yelling rather loudly into his face. "Would you shut the frick up?" you hiss as you keep glaring at him. His eyes widen slightly, as does everyone else's. You keep going as you clearly didn't feel like backing down already, even though Bakugou was someone you really liked. "Please stop yelling for once. I want a calming vacation/training time with all of you. People I see as my friends, my family. Please, Bakugou, Your voice begins to go quiet. You gulp slightly as you look away, balling up your fists, letting him go. Please, don't take this the wrong way. I'm sorry. Bakugou cuts you off, growling as he gently grabs your chin, lifting it up to look into his eyes. His eyes were soft, with a slight glare in them. He clearly is trying his damned hardest to not start glaring at Uraraka again. Fine, you nerd. Only for your dumbass. He pulls his hand away and looks over at everyone else, whose jaws were now pretty much physically on the floor. He so badly wanted to start yelling at them, but out of the corner of his eyes he could still see your sad face. He sighs and lets out a loud groan. All of you extras, I will be nice. But I haven't gone soft, you assholes. He states rather loudly, soon sitting down where he was before, looking away from you and everyone else. You gently sit back down as well, looking at him as everyone else begins whispering to one another, not wanting to make Bakugou change his mind at this point. Kirishima smiles. He was the one sitting across from Bakugou. Izuku looks at you once you turn back to look at him. He gently takes your hands in his, and a big smile forms on his soft, kind face. You okay, listener? Yeah, I'm fine. Just some problems at home. I just want everyone to be nice to each other. For once, and at least till the training part of this, vacation. You sigh as you let out a slight yawn, soon starting to fall asleep. Izuku goes to grab you and let you lay on him, but Bakugou gently wraps his arm around you, letting you lay your head on his shoulder. You fall fast asleep. You wake up a few hours later to the salty smell of the beach and also a little bit of caramel. Bakugou still holding you close as he had also fallen asleep. You blush slightly, gently getting up, trying to move out of his grip, which you manage. This causes him to wake up as well. He groans half asleep. Where do you think you're going? He grabs your wrist and pulls you into his lap, snuggling against you. You have no idea what to do. You didn't want to fully wake up the explosive blonde. Not in this position. Everyone else starts to wake up. You eye down Kirishima, mentally begging him to help you in some way. He holds back a laugh as he gently shakes Bakugou after standing. Bakugou, you grabbed my shark stuffy. I want it back. Bakugou groans and lets go of you. Kirishima picks you up to make it seem more legit, soon setting you down to the side of him, a smile on his face. Thanks, Bakugou. Also, we're here, man. Time to get up. Izuku laughs slightly as he also stands, Bakugou's eyes opening as he begins yelling at the red-headed shark boy. Izuku gently grabs your hand and walks you out of the bus. He had been awake most of the car ride. He tells you Bakugou had been holding you the whole time. You blush slightly, of course, Izuku now feeling kind of disappointed that you weren't at least slightly mad at Bakugou for touching you. He shakes it off as everyone else exits the bus. You gently take your sandals off and stick your feet into the soft sand, sighing softly with a smile on your face. Bakugou smiles at you, seeing how calm and relaxed you are. He hadn't seen you all that relaxed in school, the League of Villains always on your tail for your quirk. You normally hide your right eye in public, it being black and red. It happened to be called Eye of Time. You could stop time, speed it up, slow it, and even see the time of people's deaths. Of course, this being a scary power, you would have nightmares of the possible deaths of your friends. You had told Bakugou this a few weeks back, and from that day on, you had only become closer to him, which included the Baku squad. You slide your shoes back on and begin heading to go help with the bags, Bakugou and Izuku following behind. Almost like lost puppies. You and Kirishima decide to see who is more manly by seeing who can bring up the most bags to the beach house. You grab the 3 bags that you could and take off, Kirishima following you with 5. You both yell and laugh as the competition starts. Of course, none of the other students minded this. If they cheered you guys on, all the bags will be in the beach house in no time, none of them having to lift a single finger. Bakugou sighs, shaking his head, seeing you didn't catch on to your classmate's trick to make you do all the work. He grabs 6 bags and begins heading up the stairs, yelling he was more manly than both you and Kirishima. You all laugh as everyone watches the 3 of you going at your competition. Around 10 minutes passed and you had all gotten everything inside. You and Kirishima back to back on the floor, winded as you both pant rather heavily. You bump fists as you still don't look at each other, Bakugou looking down at you as he shakes his head at the both of you. Everyone else entering the beach house and begin laughing at you both. Mina jumps up and down as she exclaims, "Guys, let's all go get in our bathing suits. It's hot and I want to go into the water." Everyone agrees as Bakugou helps you and Kirishima up. You grab your bag and walk into your room, shutting the door behind you. You soon pull out a black bikini. Of course, this covers to your neck and the bottoms didn't show that much either. You take off your clothes and put on this bikini, putting your black slides back on. Some of the girls entering the room and gawk at how cute you look. You blush slightly as you look away, hiding your face with your long hair. Most of them are also wearing bikinis. It does cover enough for them to feel comfortable though. You all walk out, of course, after putting on your cover-ups and grabbing a towel. The guys are also completely ready for the beach, all changed. Kirishima had washed out the gel so it wouldn't be a mess in the water. You all walk to the beach, laying your stuff and towels on the white sand. The girls take off the covers, showing their bikinis. Your bikini, of course, covering most than everyone else. This being what you felt most comfortable with, of course. All the girls hurry to the water, splashing each other and seeing what happens when they use their quirks in the water. You stayed behind with Bakugou and Kirishima, Bakugou blushing at the sight of you. In his mind, he wished you were wearing something a little more revealing. He shakes his head and scolds himself for thinking like Mineta. Then he starts thinking to himself as he looks around. Where is Mineta? He would normally be in the water trying to grab one of the girls or... Ah! He let out a yelp. And Mineta was hugging you from behind, your butt pressed into his face. Bakugou's eyes widen as he grabs the little perv, pulling him away from you, throwing him into the water with the rest of the girls. The girls scream while swimming away from him, all laughing. Izuku snorts slightly as you pout. Bakugou grabs your hand and pulls you with him. He takes you to the side of the beach house where no one else can see you both. You tilt your head slightly concerned, thinking there may be something wrong. Hey, are you okay, Bakugou? He pinned you against the wall, his lips only centimeters away from yours. He looks into your eyes longingly. You turn a dark red due to this and try to keep contact with the ash blonde. When that little perv touched you, God, I almost lost it. He gently runs his hands over your cheek. His hands rather warm. The smell of sea salt caramel hitting your nose once again, but this time more pronounced. Your mouth becomes dry as you keep looking at him. He uses his other hand to grab your hip softly. I can't get you out of my mind, listener. I can't. He grits his teeth. You lay both of your hands against his chest. His heart was pounding. You then gently move your hands from his chest to around his neck. His eyes widen slightly as you plant a soft kiss to his lips. He presses you against the wall as he gently and deeply kisses back. One hand on the wall, the other rubbing your hip. Then up to your back, and then up to your cheek. You soon part lips once you heard what sounded to be Izuku yelling for the both of you, wondering where you both had went. You blush more as the ash blonde smiles, gently letting you go. But before you can get too far, he slaps the ever-loving crap out of your butt. You're walking out of the dorms with Mina and a few others. Everyone is laughing and joking. You're doing the same until you see dark clouds forming above the school and around the surrounding area. You gulp slightly as you think to yourself, I hope there's no thunder. You had a great fear of thunder and lightning. Of course you didn't tell anyone this, not even your boyfriend. No, especially not your boyfriend, the explosive blonde known as Katsuki Bakugou. You thought if he found out he would end up laughing at you. You sigh softly in the distance as you hear a low rumble, your face going pale. Mina, can we, go back into the dorms? I need to. I'm gonna go use the restroom. You laugh nervously as she gives you a confused look. She shrugs and a big smile forms on her face. All right, listener. Come on, guys, let's hurry. They end up walking off. Everyone of the Baku squad is there except your boyfriend. You hurry back to the dorms as you look around nervously as you soon feel a hard grip on your shoulder after you had entered the dorms. You are flipped around like a rag doll and you see none other than your boyfriend, Bakugou. Hey, babe, you say a bit sheepishly. You smile softly with a bit of a gulp. He glares into your eyes as he notices your nervousness. He lets out what seems to be a low growl. Why do you look so nervous, idiot? He says softly, which shocks you. He clearly had care in his voice as you blush slightly. You soon turn away from him, not making any eye contact. Your head soon snaps to the door of the building as the rain had started heavily as you gulp softly. He notices this as he keeps glaring at you softly and picks you up into his arms. Are you afraid of thunder? He says in a deeper tone, trying to scare you slightly, mostly into submission. You always ended up telling him what he wanted that way. You look away once more and nod softly. He lets out a loud groan and starts walking to the elevator. Ugh, you're such a loser sometimes, you know. You look at him, and he looks intensely forward as he walks towards his dorm. The thunder starts to rumble rather loudly, which makes your body start to tremble. You both soon get to his dorm, and he gives you an odd look. I shouldn't be... Shut up, you idiot. I don't want you scared. God, you're so stupid. You giggle slightly as he enters the room with you in his arms. You both hear a loud crack from the lightning and thunder outside. You yelp and hide your face into his neck, and he sits with you on the bed. He covers you up and himself, cuddling you to his muscular chest, his strong arms wrapped around you firmly. You both cuddle as the rain starts to beat down very hard against the windows and the roof of the building. You gulp as you see a lightning strike right outside your window, then a loud booming sound that echoes across, of course, probably most of the city, and all the lights go out. You let out a yelp. You hide against his chest, gripping onto his shirt tightly. Trembling against him, he sighs as he holds you very close. "Are you alright, babe?" he says, clearly somewhat pissed off. "May I ask why you didn't tell me about this fear beforehand?" His voice comes with a glare that you can see every once in a while due to the large amount of lightning. You gulp as you look into his eyes. You started with a gulp, looking away from him. "I was afraid that you would laugh at me." He cuts you off with a deep kiss. Your eyes widen as you gently wrap your arms around his neck, a small smirk forming on his lips as you both kiss. From this kiss, it felt like a promise to you, a promise that he was going to stay by your side through thick and thin. You and Bakugou had been dating for around 3 years. You both had gotten together after the second year of UA. Of course, as always, you are both chasing a villain that had led a group of Nomus into town. You had left Izuku and a few other heroes to deal with the Nomus as you and Bakugou quickly went after the villain. Panting heavily, you can feel your lungs and legs burning horribly, hearing your explosive boyfriend far ahead of you. "God, why does he have to do this?" you mumble to yourself. You soon see a glowing light from ahead and Bakugou's explosions fall silent. This scares you horribly. When the smoke clears, you get closer. You see 2 figures making their escape. You turn to go after them, but soon hear what seems to be a grumble or a soft cry. Turning to the noise, you see a small child with ash blonde hair. Right away, you knew it was Bakugou. The only way you knew this was due to his mother showing you his baby pictures. You grit your teeth as you know you can't head after the villains that did this to your boyfriend. You sigh softly as you walk over to the child, struggling and crying / grumbling in the cloths of your boyfriend's hero suit. You soon wrap him up in the suit and look him in the eyes. "Damn it, Katsuki," you grumble as you look over his body, noticing a few scratches here and there. You let out a sigh of relief, knowing you don't have to take this young child to the hospital. You soon hurry off to your shared apartment, not wanting anyone to see him like this. You both soon arrive as he had started throwing a small fit, whining and pulling on your hero suit. He glares at you, but of course you are unable to take it seriously due to the situation he is in. You smile softly as you hold him close. "Are you okay, Bakugou?"
I'm fine. I'm gonna be the top hero one day. I'm always fine."
You sigh softly as you walk to your room, setting him on the bed, going through your drawers to try to find a shirt that's not too big, but big enough for him to wear almost like a dress. You find one of your boyfriend's merch shirts that you had bought. It's a black shirt with one of his grenades on it, his name in orange and explosions all around it. The young Bakugou's eyes widen as he looks at it, a big smile forming on his face. "Are you ready for a bath now? You need to get clean before I bandage your wounds,"
No!
he yells. You groan slightly as you pick him up, slowly making your way to the bathroom. Of course, he had none of it. Kicking and squirming, yelling, trying his best to get out of your grip. You manage to get him into the tub, soon adding warm water and bubbles, trying to keep him at least a little distracted. His eyes widen as he sees the bubbles and he puts them on his hands, soon acting as if they were his small explosions, making sound effects with his mouth and lips.
Boom! Boom!
He yelled. You watch him playing in the tub and you smile warmly to yourself, deciding you should go find a first aid kit for his scratches. You walk back to the hall that had the bathroom, now seeing that the bathroom door is open. You quickly run over to see him no longer in the tub. You can feel fear and anxiety enter through your body, adrenaline, as you quickly start to look around the apartment for him. Through all of your looking and searching, you never looked in the living room, not thinking he would be there. And when you did, you saw him comfy on the couch. He's not wearing anything, but the large shirt that you showed him earlier is over him like a blanket. You softly pull it away from him, forcing him to put it on. He whines, of course, but you manage. After a few hours of watching TV with the young Bakugou, you notice he begins to yawn and rub his eyes softly. You smile at him as you gently lay on the couch, scooping him up into your arms and laying him across your chest and stomach. He puts his eyes back on the TV as he slowly drifts off. You end up doing the same, of course. You wake up the next morning with a heavy weight on your body. At first you think it's your muscles from yesterday's fight. No, that can't be it. You look down to see a bunch of ash blonde hair, large arms wrapped around your waist. Your eyes widen when it finally comes together. Bakugou was not a kid anymore. His head was laying on your lower stomach as he keeps a tight grip on you. Bakugou! You let out a little yelp. He slowly opens his eyes to look up at you, a large devilish smirk forming on his lips. Thanks, you idiot. He plants a soft kiss on your stomach. You're going to be a great mother. You're laying on the couch. It had been a few weeks after the incident where Bakugou was turned into a small child. You still think about what he said about you being a good mother. You haven't yet had your monthly. Thinking it was late, you didn't pay any mind, till a week later became 2 months late. Of course, you didn't tell Bakugou this, knowing he would freak out, thinking you had some kind of illness, and attempt to physically kill it. You decide it's time to go to the doctor's while Bakugou went out with his friends. You enter the office, knowing he was too busy to know where you were or ask questions. 30 minutes later, looking at your phone every once in a while, you see none other than Recovery Girl. You are rather shocked to see her until you realize it is the weekend, so she wouldn't be working at the school. You speak for a few minutes about life, and she takes you to the back to one of the rooms. Well, sweetheart, why are you here today? My you-know-what never came, and I feel rather nauseous in the mornings. She gives you a look and makes you sit down before she leaves the room. Bakugou is with Kirishima and the rest of the gang from y'all's school days. Kirishima had noticed Bakugou was rather off. He wraps an arm around his best friend. Hey, Bakugou, why are you so deep in thought today? Anything wrong? Listener, she's been acting rather off. She's acting more of a dumbass than normal. Kirishima hums and rubs his chin, thinking about what Bakugou said. What kind of weird? She's been sick almost every morning. What? What if she has like some type of disease? Cancer? What? Of course not, shitty hair. She would have told me if that was the case. He grumbles as he looks to Kirishima, almost glaring. Would she? Bakugou's eyes widen as he looks down, thinking about what Kirishima had just said. He yells out angrily and grabs the group and forces them to follow him. He pulls out his phone and starts sending a text to you. You had just gotten done from having your blood work and other stuff done. The last thing Recovery Girl made you take was a pregnancy test. It's set to the side as you wait to see what it says. You hear a soft ding come from your phone. You look to see who is messaging you, and you are met by your lovely boyfriend using all caps. Your eyes widen as you read the text. Where the hell are you, you dumbass? Don't make me use Deku to track your ass. You gulp as you softly send a text. Slowly, very, very slowly, wanting to tell him the truth, but not everything. You start slowly typing, trying to make sure you don't say anything that would give you away. Babe, I'm at home. Not feeling too well at the moment. Bakugou growls as he looks at Deku shoving his own phone into his hands. Use your fucking tracker skills to find her! He yells loudly in Izuku's face. Izuku sighs and opens the messages, using your location to start the tracker. She's at the downtown hospital, he says. Bakugou's eyes widen as he breaks into a sprint after taking back his phone from Deku. The rest of them quickly follow him, of course, starting to lag behind. Deku uses his quirk to keep up with Bakugou, the rest of them falling farther and farther back. I swear to God when I get my hands on that woman, he growls, more as Deku quickly makes their way to the hospital. You look over the pregnancy test. Now you see the 2 lines, meaning you're positive. Your eyes widen slightly as now you have no idea how to tell your hot-headed boyfriend. A male doctor that you've known for a very long time walks in and hands you a small bag to put the test in. You slip the test into the bag as you also slip it into your pocket. You look up at the doctor as he continues to recommend you things for the nausea. Also talking about your blood tests and other things you need to know. You take mental note of anything he says, listening closely. He touches your knee, patting it gently, saying he thinks you're going to be an amazing mother. Due to your kindness and your hero work, you smile, thanking him, and you both soon hear what sounds like explosions. The room shakes a little bit. Bakugou storms into the hospital, slamming his hands against the desk in front of the receptionist. Where is my fucking girlfriend? He yells. The woman starts to slightly tremble, seeing the very angry ash blonde, knowing this was the explosive hero. Her voice trembles and trails off slightly as she asks, Who is your girlfriend? Listener! She yelps as she starts turning to her computer, quickly typing in your name. She finds the room number and quickly tells him. He growls as he proceeds to speed walk down the hallway, his hands setting off small explosions. Deku soon enters the hospital and quickly follows the blonde, not wanting him to walk into something that he may end up killing someone. Bakugou storms into the room, seeing the doctor's hand on your knee. His face
turns into a scowl as he grabs the doctor, slamming him into the wall. His other hand starts to spark. Deku's eyes widen. You quickly get up, grabbing your boyfriend's arms. Babe, what the heck are you doing?
He was touching you!
As he says that, his hands start to spark more. His eyes on the doctor as Deku quickly grabs him, pulling him away from the doctor. Bakugou tries to hit Deku with his quirk. You see a sink and you use your water quirk, putting cold water on Bakugou's hands, causing his pores to close and less sweat to come out. His eyes widen as you do so. He slowly turns to you. Babe, this doctor happens to be an old friend of mine. Besides Recovery Girl, and he has a boyfriend. Bakugou's eyes widen. The room ends up going completely silent as you give Deku a look. Deku makes Bakugou sit down in one of the chairs. You sit down on the one beside him. The doctor sits across from the both of you, and Deku decides to just stand. Well, Mr. Bakugou, the doctor began, I understand your frustration and what you walked in on. If she was my boyfriend and this were you, I would have been the same way, but we have other matters, he stutters slightly, we need to attend to. So please hold in any anger you have until the end when you leave the building. Bakugou lets out a loud grumble, nodding to the doctor. The doctor begins to speak about your blood pressure and ways to keep it from getting too high or too low. He avoids the topic of your pregnancy, him clearly wanting you to tell Bakugou yourself. You mentally thank him as Bakugou starts to get rather annoyed at what's happening. He grumbles and asks,
Well, is that all? The only reason she is sick is blood pressure?
The doctor shakes his head no and looks to the blonde. No, that is not the only reason, but I think you should both talk about that alone. The doctor stands up and leaves the room. Izuku looks at the both of you and sighs. Kachan, you better not do anything stupid. He leaves the room along with the doctor, and Bakugou looks at you. As you start to stand, he grabs your wrists and pins you against the wall. You gulp slightly as you look into his eyes. Idiot, you better have a good fucking reason, and you better tell me what the fuck is going on. He hides his face into your neck, his warm breath tickling it slightly. You turn a light red as he does this. You had me worried, asshole. He gently inhales, taking in your scent. He sighs softly as you gently get out of his grip, his hands now against the wall to either side of you. You slowly slide one of your hands into the pocket, slowly pulling on the baggie, pulling it out of your pocket. He gives a confused look until you pull out the pregnancy test, showing it to him. He gently takes it into one of his hands and sees the 2 lines. Everything goes quiet. The tension builds every moment he doesn't say anything. Is this a joke? He manages to spit out. You can hear his voice waver, almost trembling. That's my kid. You glare slightly as you push on his chest. Of course, he does not move in the slightest. Of course it's your kid. Damn, you think I'm a joker and now unfaithful? How rude. You say this in a funny voice to ease some of the tension. A big smirk forms on his face as his eyes tear up slightly. He tilts your chin up slightly and gives you a deep, tender kiss. You wrap your arms around his neck, kissing him back just as deeply. You both soon part lips, and you don't make eye contact, your cheeks a light red. So, you're not mad? Why the fuck would I be mad? I'm going to be the most badass dad ever. He picks you up in his arms. his hands on your waist. He raises you up and kisses your stomach softly, and then starts carrying you bridal style. He walks out of the room and heads to the receptionist. Deku sees that Bakugou is practically glowing with happiness. He quickly follows after the both of you. You pay for the doctor's visit, Bakugou not letting go of you. The receptionist giggles at his change of mood. She gives you a look and you nod with a snicker. Well, see you both in the next coming months, she says. You and her both laugh as you step outside. You, Bakugou, and Izuku see the rest of y'all's old classmates. They see Bakugou's happy face and their eyes widen. You pull out a pregnancy test to show them. Kirishima yells, "I'm gonna be an uncle!" You snort as Bakugou chuckles, keeping you held close to him. You all start talking and walk to a restaurant to celebrate. Deku telling you all kinds of things you could do with the baby, if either boy or girl, wondering about their quirk, mumbling nonstop.
Hey everyone, this is MidianASMR and welcome to the channel. So I'm still having problems with that microphone, so I'm going to be using what I normally use. But once I'm able to actually use the microphone, I will start using it in my videos. So this is going to be another Bakugou X listener pregnancy care this time. I hope y'all enjoy listening. It had been around 3 months from the day both you and Bakugou found out about your pregnancy. You had been very uncomfortable due to the small baby bump already starting to form. Bakugou, on the other hand, was stressed as all hell. You were not allowed to go on missions with him, and you were the only one that was really able to keep him thinking straight. Because you can't on missions, you were hanging out with Kirishima and Sero in town square at a small park. You wanted to get out of the house while Bakugou was busy with work. He said he would be gone for around 2 weeks, and he had left only 3 days ago. Bakugou was so out of his game, they forced him to trade with Izuku and sent him back home. Of course, this made your explosive boyfriend very angry, but he had other things he needed to worry about, like how he was going to propose to you. He had been thinking about it ever since he found out about your pregnancy. He sighs softly as he picks up his phone, looking at an app Izuku installed to keep track of your phone. Seeing you are at the park, he begins to make his way there. Kirishima, Sero, and yourself are walking through the park when you all hear what sounds like an explosion farther into town. You get ready to rush into action, but Kirishima stops you. "No, listener, you can't come with us. It's too dangerous for you to use your quirk right now. Plus, Baku bro would be pretty angry at me if I let you go into battle right now. Sorry, bro," he says as he runs off with Sero. This angers you a rather decent bit, so you decide to follow them. Bakugou hears the explosions and looks to his phone again, seeing you are moving towards where the explosions were happening. He feels anger bubbling inside his stomach as he starts running to the side of the attack, ready to kick anyone's lower regions for letting you rush into battle. You end up going to help civilians find a safe place to go, deciding not to fight for your own baby's safety. Bakugou soon arrives at the scene though. He does not see you right away, but he does see the villains, so he decides to go ham on them. You finish helping the last civilians rather quickly and flee yourself, making your way back to the park, not wanting Bakugou to see you. Kirishima and Bakugou soon meet up as you leave. "Where the hell is she?" Bakugou demands, as he looks at his shark-toothed friend. Kirishima gives Bakugou a confused look and replies, "We saw her at the park." Bakugou snaps at Kirishima.
Well, my phone says she's here.
He pulls out his phone and shows the tracker to Kirishima. It shows that you and your phone are still at the park. Of course, this is because you had just gotten back. Kirishima looks over to his hot-headed friend.
Bakugou, it says she's still there. What?
He quickly turns the phone to himself and sees that you are there. This calms him down slightly, though he quickly goes back into a rage as he quickly takes off to the park, wanting to make sure the love of his life was alright. As you sit in the park, you hear what sounds to be rather large explosions and yelling. You sigh as you turn your head to see none other than your explosive boyfriend charging at you. You gently stand up and look up at him once he is standing right in front of you, a bit of smoke passing you as your hair waves in the small bits of wind his explosions cause. He pants heavily as he speaks.
You nerd! Where were you at the damn site with those damn extras?
He gestures to both Kirishima and Sarah as they run up, panting as well. You shake your head no and smile as you say to yourself, I'll tell him later. I would rather not have him kill Kirishima and Sarah. You giggled, which makes Bakugou tilt his head in confusion at what you're laughing at. But soon you hear a rustle and look down to see Bakugou on his knees, his arms around you as he lays his head on your stomach.
I miss both you nerds,
he says as he softly kisses your stomach, causing you to blush. Kirishima and Sarah wink at you and slowly escape the situation. You glare at them as you sigh, gently patting Bakugou's head, a smile creeping onto your lips. Before you can say anything, however, your explosive boyfriend scoops you up into his arms and starts to walk home.
No more walking for you, my little nerd,
Bakugou says proudly, also in a demanding tone, of course. Wrap your arms around his neck, allowing him to carry you princess style. You both soon arrived at your share house. As he steps inside, you still in his arms. He gently lays you on the couch and says,
Do not move, or else I'll blow you sky high.
You roll your eyes and give him another soft smile. All right. I will not move. But may I ask what you're going to be doing? A big grin forms on his face, as you being one of the only people who truly could make him smile.
Making you food, of course. Are you that dumb? I heard your stomach growling while we were walking back. Don't think I'm going to let my girlfriend and child starve.
He laughs nervously as he realizes that he about called you his future wife. He exits the room and enters the kitchen. Of course, you had noticed he cut himself off of whatever he was going to say before, but you decided not to pry. Bakugou begins cooking some ramen and pork for you both to eat as you turn on the TV. You feel something rather strange as you lay your hand on your stomach, feeling the child move around inside you. Your eyes widen slightly as you know it's the baby. Babe, they're moving. To your utter shock, Bakugou jumps over the counter and the couch to get over to you, sitting down beside you.
Hun, are you alright? Does it hurt?
You feel as if you're hearing things, your hot-headed boyfriend being so much sweeter than normal. You found it rather cute as you reply, No, it just feels weird is all. I'm fine. Bakugou sighs in relief as he goes back into the kitchen to cook, clearly kind of excited that the baby was starting to move. You couldn't help but feel a warm thump in your heart when you saw how happy he was. You soon shut your eyes as those thoughts let you drift to sleep. Around 30 minutes pass and he finally wakes you up to eat. He brings food to the coffee table in front of your couch so you don't have to move much. The amazing smell of his ramen hitting your nose. Your mouth begins to water slightly. He smiles softly as he begins eating his own food. You take your bowl and start munching down yourself. Once the bowls are empty, he takes it and goes to clean them. This makes you really happy that he is in such an amazing mood. He soon comes back with a blanket and lays on the couch, pulling you on top of him. He smiles again and slowly shuts his eyes after covering you up with a blanket. You shut your eyes as well and drift off to sleep, being rather tired from your odd day. Hey everyone, I am very glad that you made it to the end of this video, and I know it was very long. So thank you for your time, and I hope you all have an amazing rest of the day.